So I'm Kim Dorrington, and I have been a teacher for 26 years. I'm an Apple teacher, I'm Google certified, and I'm a Seesaw ambassador. So I love teaching, I love learning new things, and I love working at my school, which is Pictou Landing First Nations School. So my email is kimd@pictoulandingschool.ca, and my Twitter is @NouvelleGirl. But I've got to be honest, I'm not as active on Twitter as I should be, and I certainly will be trying a bit harder this year. It's one of my goals. This session is an overview of Seesaw and its features. This question was really paramount to why Seesaw came into our school. We wanted to look at how can technology support great teaching, which we have, and learning while also being able to engage parents. So when we looked at this question, we really found in Seesaw that it had the ability to do this. It had the ability to scaffold not only the learner, but the teacher while engaging the parents in a current and authentic way. It made their work visible. So it made their work being a living journal. And we could see progress in that. Seesaw makes it easy for parents to check in on what their kids are doing. So we brought in Seesaw for our school through September of last year. And it was part of a pilot project, which was sponsored by our school board, Mi'kmaw Kina'matnewey. And they were so supportive of our efforts to connect our parents and really engage all the parents and the teachers into the student learning and really make that circle of parent, learner, teacher complete. So I can't thank them enough, because that's one of the ways we were able to bring all of these things into our school. So I thought I would start this by just starting off with what actually is Seesaw, because some of you may not know, and a few years ago I didn't either. And so what it really is it's a platform for student engagement. Teachers can empower students to create, reflect, share, and collaborate, and students show what they know. So they use photos, videos, drawings, PDFs. And it's really simple for the students to work in one place. And then from that same place, when they do their work in the same place, they share it in the same place. It shares with families. And one of the best things about it is absolutely nothing is shared without the teacher's approval. Because we've always taught those kids who just enjoy putting things out there that shouldn't be out there. So the teacher has full approval on whatever is posted in Seesaw. Seesaw is actually, in fact, not one app, but it's actually two that work together. And that can be a little confusing at the beginning. So there's the Seesaw Class app, which contains the platform students work on, the tools they use. Seesaw Family app. The Seesaw Family app, it's a virtual copy of the student's journal, with parents being able to like and comment on student work, as well as receive a notification from the app every time new work is or a school-wide announcement is added. So as a teacher, when you open up Seesaw, this is what you'll see. Now, this is my test class, and I did this to avoid having to block out names and personal information from students in my classes. So when I created this, there wouldn't be anything that I had to edit out. What you're seeing is the class feed. So for the class journal in this, the teacher will see all the posts from all the students. But if I wanted to sort of focus in on just one student's work, what I could do is move over here, and I would simply select their name. And then all of the work that was contained in this journal would be filtered to be just from that student. So when you open up your account, you have control over the majority of the decisions for your class. If you have Seesaw for Schools, which we are very fortunate to have, You'll have a school, what's called a school administrator. And for my school, that does happen to be me. And I have the ability to turn on and off a few things so that school-wide decisions can be put into place this way and a little bit more streamlined. So, for example, we turned off the student's ability to like and comment on other students' work. We were concerned, we really liked that the parents could like and comment, but we were concerned that it might lead to two students paying more attention to the likes they're getting rather than the work they've done. So that was a choice, and it's a school-wide, was implemented school-wide. But other decisions, well, they remain in the hands of the teacher because you're the most powerful asset of any classroom. And the lovely part about Seesaw is that it allows teachers to begin on a very strong footing with lots of supports, and then branch out and take chances as you want to. Now, one of those chances that you can take is when you begin, well, it's always a chance when you begin something new, and you're going to be developing and learning how to do things. But as you develop, you may want to take more chances, and one of those might be starting a blog. Well, a blog would show only curated sections of the student work, so only what the teacher wanted to have put on the blog would be allowed to be put on the blog. So it could be the best of the best, something you're proud of, something the students are proud of. And the blog can be accessible to the public. It is password protected though, but this would allow families to be able to see multiple assignments from multiple students without seeing their journal feed, but to be able to see them curated in the blog. That might not be something that you're interested in right now, but that's the great thing about Seesaw. We didn't run a blog this year, but I sense that perhaps a couple of our teachers might be ready to take that step this year. So there's always a new place to grow, because Seesaw is very cognizant of meeting teachers' needs. And they're always looking to add things that will help improve our day with our students. I bet you can tell by the font that this is something that I really want new to Seesaw people to pay attention to. And that is that by default, when you begin, all students can see all posts to the class journal. So James can see Fred's, Fred can see Sally's, Sally can see Karen's. And it's not that I'm opposed to that. And we began our year last year doing this in school. And as we return to school, if that's your choice, that's awesome. But it is something that you have to go in and turn off. And so if we're ever again at home, knock wood, learning, when you use the home learning codes, that section is disabled. So even if you choose for it to be on while you're at the school, if you move to home learning codes, that option isn't there. All right, I know I'm a fast talker, but some questions.
I have a question, Kim.
Yes.
What sort of content would go on these class journals? Would it be specific to a subject area, or could it be in math or English language arts, or how is that? How do you see that working?
Well, it really works for whatever class that you have. So if you're a math teacher, it's particular to your class. So it could be a journal filled with just work that is coming from your math. Where in early elementary, it may cover all subject areas. It's really tailorable to what you want and need it to be for your students. And I'm going to show a little bit in a few minutes. There's a couple videos on how we add content to a Seesaw classroom, how the students add theirs, and why that's powerful. I hope I answered that right. And any other questions? Okay, so there's, I'm just going to pop back and All right, let's see, hit this. So when we have a Seesaw classroom, and this is my test class, you can use this. It's not just a spot to have a living journal or a living record of the students' work for the year. It's also a wonderful place to be able to contact parents. So you have the ability, once you've connected your parents, to send student announcements. So they'd go just to the students. Family announcements, they go to the family, and you can send announcements to both at the same time. So it really streamlines this process and really lets you engage everyone. So talking to parents sometimes is easier, and then sometimes it gets a little bit more complicated because we're contacted on multiple platforms, some of them personal, some of them social. And the one thing about Seesaw is that it offers a simple, direct messaging space that's private between the parents and the teacher. The messages aren't connected or posted to the student's journal. They're accessible only through the Seesaw Family app and the teacher. The student can't message back and forth, and they certainly can't message other students. There's also a section in Seesaw, and I know I'm talking a lot at the beginning, that is called Manage Skills. And what this is a place to list your indicators or outcomes and to be able to put into place an assessment piece for your activities. So it is possible to have in here Nova Scotia indicators and to connect that to your activity. Unfortunately, because this is American-based, there are some already in place, like the Common Core, and they would be easy to you can access them quite easily with a couple of clicks. Ours, you'll have to input yourself, but it's not that difficult. And I know a teacher is already doing it in my school. Also, because Seesaw continues to grow, in fact, they've created a whole separate Seesaw community in which you can enter and take some virtual training. You can rack up some certificates. You can track your learning. You might even want to join a pioneer course, or in a few years, an ambassador course, because you are welcome to join a pioneer course, and it's extra wonderful learning. And you have to be a pioneer for a few years before you can apply to become an ambassador. And another level opens up, and some more courses and training to help you present and learn about Seesaw. Well, learning with Seesaw. So some work we give students, especially sometimes remotely, builds narrow skills. Well, Seesaw engages students to build, practice, and apply the skills in an interactive way. Their work lives in Seesaw. It's a living, visible, journal, and it shows growth. And it really gives the students the tools and a fun way to learn everywhere. That's not to say that this solved all the problems that remote learning brought to our school, and I'm sure to yours. And it isn't to suggest that this is the magic bullet. It is and has the potential to be extremely effective. And I think that's what I find so wonderful about it, is the possibilities with this program. So keeping students' learning visible. So for each student, they have their own digital journal, and they're able to post their work in their journal. And it will not appear in their journal feed unless it's approved by a teacher. And for this, we were really thinking about parent engagement. And in the beginning at our school, parents weren't sure about Seesaw. And I was like a little Seesaw cheerleader to both staff and students. And I think you do need that to bring it into the school. Someone who will bring that in and be that in your classroom. Turn the rest of the staff on to what you're doing. But you know what? It didn't take long for the staff and for the parents to quickly turn around and see not only how easy it was for them to see the authentic work their student were doing in class, because they weren't just seeing the perfect. They weren't seeing that perfect piece that went home at the end. They might be seeing the draft they wrote. They might be seeing the brainstorming session that went on. And so they're seeing sections of the work before they see the final product. And that's very hard to convey to parents who aren't in your class like every single day. They were also hearing students explain why a math problem was solved. And they were watching them take what they were learning in class and to go out and find pictures and demonstrate what they're learning. You know, it is as much as you want to invest in it can be. So it gives the students those tools. And speaking of that, I kept the videos very short. Well, short for me, because I do like to talk a little bit. So, but I wanted to show you a few things.
So how do students add content to their journals?
Well, in two main ways. The first is they make an activity assigned by the teacher. So they find that in their activities tab. And they may add a response to any of these. The other way to add content is to post student work. And when you bring up post student work, the students have access to all of these tools. They can put a photo, a video, or upload a photo or video, add a note, a link. But most often what we find students are using is the drawing tool, which is actually so much more. Once you're here, you have the ability to create from a blank slate. You have all kinds of tools at your disposal. Quickly incorporate a text box. They can take a picture. Move and resize either of these. The three dots now offer you a variety of backgrounds. You might ask them to bring some shapes out to decorate, or they may want to. And then finally, maybe they'll use the record tool to record. Two things about me are I'm a huge Montreal Canadiens fan, and I love technology. Two things about me are I'm a huge Montreal Canadiens fan, and I love technology. When I'm happy with what I've done, I'm simply going to click the check mark. I'm going to be able to click the student that created it. So I'll click my name. For this purpose, I'm sample student. I can click that it belongs in a certain folder, but this doesn't. I may click through that. Two things about me are I'm a huge Montreal Canadiens fan, and I love technology. And just like that, I've added some content. Okay, Okay, that's okay. I got a warning when I was on, Stan. I just couldn't, or Nick, I just couldn't figure it out. But thank you for doing that. In this, when you click the journal tab, you're going to view, like we said, all students' work. You can also view the journal tab in calendar form. So if you click the calendar icon here to view student work, you can view it by date. This helps you go back when you need to find those assignments and you want to have another look at something specific. This is very helpful. You can click on a student's name to view work by specific student. So if you want to see all of Mila's work, you can just click her name and only that will show up. You can actually comment or like student posts. And when you do post to the class journal, you're simply going to post student work. And again, and I've said it before, but it does really bear repeating how powerful this is. Students will send you their work. You can look at it. It can actually be sent back to them to finish, to edit, and then they can resubmit it to you before you give final approval for it to go on to their learning journal. Questions? I'm just reading the side in case there are any. Okay, I'm gonna just continue on. Oh. So students thrive when they can actively explore new ideas and they make their thinking and learning visible. And Seesaw is fantastic at that. It makes their learning visible. So it lets them show what they know in a very authentic way. Teachers use essential Seesaw tools to create engaging learning experiences that make thinking and learning visible. All right, so I'm going to remember, you're going to might have to mute me on this one. Oh, maybe I'll pop back and do that myself. So far, we've been focusing on our class journal. Now we're going to take a moment to move over to activities. When we click on the tab Activities, we are brought to a list of all the activities that have been assigned to our students in our class. We can also, with a new feature of Seesaw, activities are able to be scheduled, which is wonderful, time-saving, and so teacher responsive. I can get things ready on the weekend so that I can schedule things to be pushed out to my students on, if I'm working Sundays, I can do the rest of the week, and I know that the life cycle of plant will be sent out on Monday, and that on Tuesday, the assignment of arranging body percussions and rhythms will appear in their assignments. So this is wonderful, especially with reoccurring ones, maybe exit tickets or reading responses that happen daily or throughout the week multiple times. Once you do that, they appear here under scheduled, and you can see that this one is indeed scheduled for July 30th at 9:38. And that's when that will appear in the student's activities, and the student will be able to do that activity. It won't appear in the student's activities until then. Now, if I want to look at where I get these activities from, I'm going to press the green Add button, and I'm going into Assign Activities. And I'm going into my favorite place in Seesaw. It's my activity library. My activity library has 3 tabs. My library, so that is containing all of the things that I've created. It also contains the things that I have liked or curated for my students. It also contains copies of activities that I have edited and changed. And you can see one right here. So Miss Amy Cohen created the bad seed, and I really liked it, but I wanted to tweak it a little bit for my class. So I was able to copy it and edit it. The only thing that I don't like about this process is that it replaces, each time you do it, the author of this activity with your name. But I am always careful to go back in and make sure that I credit the original author. So when we are back to activities here in our activity library, if you have Seesaw for Schools, you have a school and district library. So that will contain all of the activities created by your school or district. In the community tab, which is such a wonderful place, you have enormous supply of lessons and creativity from so many giving teachers here at your fingertips. You can create, you can look for exactly what you need. If you need a grade 2 math lesson, there you are. Maybe I'm going to choose this one. It's something that I like. A little tip here is you can assign right from this page, and that's fantastic. But if you do not click this heart, it does not appear in your library. And then it can become difficult to find this activity again. So a little tip, always click the heart. Then you can hit assign from here, or what I prefer to do is pop back into my library to do the assigning. I'm going to choose the test class that I have for it. I am going to choose, no, this activity is going to all my students in that. But I also want to make sure that I click this into my math folder. And I am going to assign it. And that's done. The same thing could go with this one. I'm going to take this. I am going to assign it. I'm going to assign it to my test class. I am going to assign it to all my students. I'm going to put it in my literacy folder. Fantastic. But, oh, I don't want this one to go home just yet. I'm going to schedule that. And this one is going to go out on August 8th at 1 p.m. and assign. That's a new feature in Seesaw, and it is going to be a game changer for many teachers. So I'm so excited by it. And that's activities. I'm hoping you can hear me, and I've unmuted myself. So really, when you're using this, you can share anything with the photo and the video tools. Our school happens to be an iPad school, so we're actually a one-to-one iPad. But this program works on Google Chrome and multiple different devices. And regardless of the device, you have access to the same tools. So on the blank canvas, you can use the microphone, snap a picture, put in a video, put in a text box. And now with Seesaw for Schools or Seesaw Plus, you can have multiple pages to show even more complex learning. So, and if not, then the students can make multiple posts of single pages. How does Seesaw Activity support engaging learning experience? Well, with multimedia directions and resources, it just makes it more engaging. They have access to all the learning tools when they respond, and you have access to all those learning tools and when you create an activity, because I noticed that's the one thing I didn't show you there. I was a little too fast with the edit button, I think. Students have an authentic audience for their work because it's all added to their journal.
Mary was wondering if there's a library for French activities.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? This played as soon as I clicked on.
No problem. Mary was wondering if there was a library of French activities in Seesaw.
Well, actually, there are some activities that are in French, and you just have to search for those. And I know that for language learners, it's become very powerful at our school. We are a Mi'kmaw language school, and so our Mi'kmaw language teachers find the ability to put out videos. That was extremely helpful to bring the language to our learners during remote learning. So it was they're able to hear their students really speak, and I know that it's just incredibly effective. So, and the kids can actually record themselves speaking, and the teacher can hear that. So I'm hoping that answers your question. So this next little thing is just like a little cute thing that I like to do, and I just wanted to make sure I shared that. And I have to mute myself, sorry. I'm re-recording this, so I'm hoping this one shows all the details, because this was one of my favorite things to do. And it's to use Bitmojis that came out of the Snapchat craze and Seesaw together to make some digital stickers for students' work. So to do that, what you're going to need is you're going to need to install your Google Chrome extension for Bitmoji. And if you haven't done that already, it's actually quite easy. So you're going to just go to your waffle up in the corner and to your web store. And once you're in your web store, you're just going to search for Bitmoji. And then once you found it, you are going to add to Chrome. So obviously mine doesn't say add to Chrome here because I've already done that part. And once you do that, you can then add it to your extension bar up at the top where mine is, and then you now have access to your Bitmojis. And this is great because in Google Slides too, this will work, and they just will be able to be incorporated. I'm pretty sure you saw some already in my presentation today. Once you've done that, you're just going to pop back to Seesaw. And I know it was there, so I might as well just back up. So once you're in Seesaw, you're going to take a look for and find a piece of work that you think is a good candidate to get a sticker. Now, not all of the work that is submitted to me gets a sticker. It's something that I like to do occasionally. And, you know, sometimes it's not the little kids that like to have a sticker on their work. So now we're going to just go ahead and add this. So what you're going to look for now is you're going to look for the ... box in the bottom right-hand corner. So once you find that, you are looking in the menu to edit this item. So you're going to choose to edit the item. The item will come up. And then it's at this point you're going to pop up to your Bitmoji. And once you're there, you're going to type in what you want to see on your sticker. So I'm thinking I'm going to go for excellent. So once I've done that, I then need to take a few minutes and really have a look at all the suggestions for excellent here. Now there's a few here that I don't think they make appropriate sticker, and that's my decision as a teacher. And to be honest, Bitmoji wasn't meant as a digital sticker factory, so you know, sometimes sarcasm doesn't translate, but I do see one that I like. So I'm going to take this one here that says nice. And if it doesn't show you what you want, you can always just change what you're looking for. So maybe I want it to say good job. good work. I like this even better. There we go. So now once I've picked one, I am going to right-click on that and copy the image. Now, once I've copied the image, I can go over to the Seesaw page and I'm going to put it into this Seesaw activity, and I'm going to Velcro it in with a Command V. Now, a little bit big for me there. There we go. Now I've resized that and popped it where I want to be. And I think that looks very appropriate for the work. And so now when I'm happy about that, I'm just going to green check mark it. And the work is republished with my addition here of a sticker. And you can choose, then you might choose to give the work a like and maybe even to comment on the work. So, love the dino. And just like that, you have responded to the student's work. You've given them a like, a comment, and a digital sticker. I hope you give it a try. Well, I'm re-recording this, so all right, no need to see that twice as I popped back. And I really just wanted, that's something fun I like to do, and I didn't know where everybody would be in their experience with Seesaw, so I wanted to include a few things for everyone. With Seesaw, we are very fortunate to have Seesaw for Schools. It was a great investment from our board, and it really showed their belief in Seesaw in bringing it into our school. And since that, I just wanted to show you what that means. So Seesaw for Schools has a few features that aren't available with other Seesaw levels. There's 3 Seesaw levels. Seesaw Basic, which is free, and they're committed to keeping it free. Seesaw Plus, which costs individual teachers about $120 a year, approximately. And there's Seesaw for Schools, which is bought on the board or school basis, and its cost is determined, well, you know, it's determined above my pay grade. And but when you get Seesaw for Schools, you do have access to school-wide announcements. So if there's a lunch change, I can make that announcement now. That's a new feature. And also for Seesaw for Schools, excuse me, you will get a dashboard. And in this dashboard, whoever the administrator is can see an overview of, and you'll note that this is for July 17th to July 23rd. And my school is not in session right now. So there have been 0 posts added, 0 comments, 0 likes, and 0 visits by family members, which is exactly as I would expect it to be in the middle of summer. I can add teachers to our school. I can update class lists, and I can take some of the day-to-day maintenance off of some of the teachers' plates in this. But one of the most important tabs in Seesaw for School is the Analytics tab. And if you are bringing this to an administrator as something you would like to see in your school, this might be the tab that really seals the deal for you. And what it is it takes all the data that you have that is generated by Seesaw and for your school and really highlights it. So this is our weekly items. So and this is for the course of the year, just about the year. Anyway, this is showing how many weekly items we have put onto our post or made posts of into our journals. And you'll notice we start out, there's September, and there's, you can see exactly where Christmas is, and you can see exactly where March break is. And then you can see where our remote learning took place too. And so it's very powerful to be able to go back. So if you are looking at this, as we will as a staff when we come back, we can look at trends, we can look at why, we could look at this over multiple years. So it just gives a lot of power to it. I wasn't able to show you all of them, but another one is what is our weekly parent engagement? And this is one of the main reasons Seesaw was brought into our school, was to engage our parents in the day-to-day learning process. So the blue line represents the number of connected parents, and you can see when we brought it in September, that's when we, boom, that was our biggest shoot up there from 0 to 20. And then you can see a steady growth and the last few parents, and we are actually 100% connected. So every student in our school's parent is connected to our Seesaw. The red line indicates the number of parent visits. And you can see, again, you can see obvious dips where it is representative of Christmas vacation, March break. So this is really powerful things for us to really look at and see, was it working for us? What was good about it? Were we successful in this section? What now do we have to look at to move forward? So I am almost done, and I know I have been talking a lot, so just a few more minutes. So you want more Seesaw. Yay. Seesaw I don't feel I even scratched the main surface of Seesaw. And to be honest, you really need to get your hands on it on a device. If we were doing a training all together, which I hope is possible someday, you would be working on Seesaw on your device. But it has tons of PD online in their new community hub. If you type in Seesaw, it can direct you right to some, they call it PD in your PJs. If you're online, and I'm going to say his name wrong, it's Chris Sarginer. My apologies, Chris. He produces Seesaw videos, and they are fantastic. I highly recommend checking him out. They are very easy to follow. Consider becoming a pioneer, which means you will get links to some very special training, and you will just really, it opens your eyes up to all the possibilities of Seesaw. The other one is do a YouTube search. So many amazing educators, and they're posting all the time. And the other thing is connect with other teachers in your school using Seesaw. And I know that in my school, I have several teachers in the school that are or have become very dedicated Seesaw users. And really having those conversations with them, you really learn a lot. So, build your own network. You have my email. Email me. So now, because I'm an ambassador, sometimes I get let in on a few secrets, so I thought I'd let you in on them too. So there's some new features or improvements coming to Seesaw. So, and they're coming before school starts, so around the middle of August. First off is that their activities tab, they're now going to have 3 sections. There's going to be a to-do, so when it's assigned, an in progress, so if they start and stop something, and a done activities tab. So the activities no longer will just be one long list. Now students are going to be able to print the activity from the ... box in the bottom right-hand corner of Seesaw. So in the ... box, they'll be able to print. And that is really important because when we have students with exceptionalities, students who are home and just work better on paper, parents who want that, they can access Seesaw, they can access the activity, they can print the activity, and then they can do it on paper if that's something that they want and you're supportive of and the activity supports it. the next thing is they're going to be showing all student responses in a grid for teachers. So if I assigned an activity, I'd be able to see all the responses in one location. This is actually going to be a bit of a game changer for my older classes, and I'm not sure yet because this particular one hasn't come out yet, but Seesaw works extremely well with all kinds of different apps. And one of the things they've been working on is Google Classroom. And this definitely stemmed from remote learning. Our older classes in our school, because we're a P to 8, do use Seesaw, but they also have a Google Classroom. So they're working together, and this is going to help them. You're going to be able to directly link an activity which you set up in Seesaw, take that link, post that link in Google Classroom, and the student should be able to go, when they click on the link, go directly to the Seesaw activity. So I'm very excited to see how that will be working. These next two actual new features came out already, but they will be new for the school year, so I thought I'd mention them. With Seesaw Plus or Seesaw for Schools, you can now draw and record across multiple pages. So you can add multiple pages and continue your recording across them. And you can also add links to a photo, a label, or a shape, and you can link it directly to another page. So this lets choice boards happen. So you could link your first page and an icon on that to the third page of your same activity. So it's really letting teachers develop the complex activities to get all the good learning out of the students. All right, so I guess I'm back at the questions here. And I'm wondering, I know I talk fast and I went through a lot, but if there's anything that anybody wanted to ask about Seesaw? Okay.
There is a couple of questions, Kim.
Okay. Sure.
Rebecca asks, can you have multiple teachers within a class?
That's an awesome question. And yes, you can. So if you have Seesaw, the basic, you can have 2 teachers connected. If you have Seesaw Plus, I believe it's 5. And basically, if you have Seesaw for Schools, you can have up to 10. So that creates a little problem where you are sharing the classroom. And it's not, I shouldn't say a problem. What it is that when students put in assignments, and if there are 2 teachers, so if Nick, the moderator, and I were sharing a classroom and someone submitted a piece of work, both of us have equal authority to say yes to that. But it may not be work that, say I approved it, but it might be work that Nick assigned. So we do this at our school. In our school, all specialists and our main teachers of that grade level all share. They all share the classroom. So we have an agreement within the classroom teachers and the specialists that you only approve your work. Because what Nick might be looking for an assignment and he may feel needs to go back for more detail to the student, I may feel is fine and I may approve it. It's not my assignment, I don't approve it. And to be honest, other than a few little hiccups, once that rule was established, it was really held to by our teachers, and I know multiple schools that do that. However, some specialists do run their own classrooms, and students can be enrolled in multiple classrooms and toggle back and forth.
Kim, there's a few more questions.
Yep.
Brenda has asked, her board has Seesaw. Does that mean she has access to a school or a board account?
So if her board has Seesaw for Schools, then she has access to Seesaw for Schools. She may not see the Seesaw administrator pages because you have to be the administrator of the board to see that. Does that answer your question?
Nikki has a question about making a project or an assignment in Google Drive, as in like a Google slide.
Yeah.
And she wants to know, when she uploads it to Seesaw, does she have to change any of the share elements of it so that it's accessible?
Yeah, so it has to be accessible. When you're in Google Drive, you have to make sure your permission allows it to be shareable, and it will come up with an original you can choose, or a doc or a PDF. So they can, once they choose the original, then they can link into anything as long as the permissions in the original document allow that to happen. That makes sense?
Yeah, my guess that it would have to be public.
Yes,
to share onto a new platform. Rebecca asks a question about with parent communication, do both teachers get the message, or can parents pick the teacher to send it to? If, say, there's 2 teachers.
Yeah, it's private so you're going to pick who you're sending it to.
And our last question, because we're almost out of time too, Trudy has asked if you could share your email and link again.
Certainly, and I'll post, I'll pop it up at the end of this, and I will post it too on the slide deck that is going out for this assignment, or this presentation.
Yeah, sounds good. And then last one, Mary is wondering about, is there a free trial available to go in and explore Seesaw? Or,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yes, there is a free trial. It's 30 days, I believe, right now. And at the end of this presentation, I'm putting up a QR code. And if you scan that, you'll get an additional 30 days. So you'd get 60 days. So ambassadors have a QR code that if you scan it, and everyone can feel free to do that, and it will give you an extra. So you'll get 60 days to try it. Excellent way to test this out. So I'm almost done, I promise. The Seesaw Learning Loop is something that I really like because it recognizes that there are teachers, students, families, all interconnecting with the content we're teaching, the PD we're giving teachers, and the platform we're doing it on. So really, if you look at Seesaw's learning, it really holds to this and tries to incorporate all of it. The 3 plans. So I included on this, and this I will make sure this goes up into the deck. The 3 Seesaws and what the features are, what the limits are, and all the new activities. Now, the new activities that I mentioned that will launch in August, they aren't on this particular list. They haven't updated it yet, but they just announced that a couple of days ago. So, and I just wanted to say thank you.